The Fallen series, at its heart, began as a love story. I started with the idea of these two lovers, and I wanted to expand the love story so that the world of the love story involved more than just the two lovers. I wanted bigger, larger implications. So Lucinda Price is the heroine. She has a long history that she's just beginning to learn about in Fallen of reincarnation. So she basically has been living to the age of 17 over and over again for about 6,000 years. Every 17 years she falls in love with a guy named Daniel, and every 17 years they kiss and she dies. So the mystery is, who is Daniel and why is Luce wrapped up in this curse? The book that I'm excited to promote right now is called Passion, and this is the integrated prequel in which Luce goes back in time and explores each one of those lives and gets to the bottom of who she is and who Daniel is and their love story. I was writing the prologue to Fallen, the first book, when the weekend that my husband proposed to me. So I think from the very beginning of the series, my own personal love story has been infused into Luce and Daniel's experience. So it's been a very personal, exciting, passionate journey for me. That was probably the initial love inspiration. Generally, I get a lot of my inspiration from eavesdropping. I love to watch couples on the street. I love to watch couples at airports. So I listen to exchanges. I watch body language very closely. I find that to be a really inspiring, thing to draw into the love stories. These days, I've just finished working on the first draft of the fourth book, and I've been really surprised to learn how inspired I am actually by the characters themselves. It wasn't really that way in the beginning. I was learning about them. I was figuring out who they are. And these days, the story seems to propel itself, and the passion seems to exist as a real entity between these two characters. And so they inspire me at this point, which has been really exciting to discover. The first book that I ever really fell in love with was Matilda, Roald Dahl, and I think my whole life I've been searching for that kind of story. There's an extraordinary girl who's misunderstood by a kind of cruel world. I found all the books that I love kind of follow that pattern, and she's plucky, she's spunky, she's funny, and we, the reader, know how much is within her, waiting to be sort of found out by the world eventually. So there's a book I really love called Fly By Night by Frances Hardinge, and that's the same kind of story. I love Philip Pullman's books. Lyra is one of my favorite characters. And so Luce, I think, is she has a similar kind of journey to go on as these girls. I've just finished writing the first draft of Rapture, and I think it's a really beautiful resolution to the book. It was a really different experience to write it because with the first two books, it felt like throwing a bunch of things up in the air. And with the second two books, it felt like finding them in the air and trying to figure out how to catch them and where to put them. So the experience of writing Rapture was really satisfying in some ways because it was a lot of question answering and a lot of payoffs. So I'm not going to give any specific hints, but I will say that writing this last book, it was the first time, I think in anything I've ever written, the first time that I was sitting at my computer writing a scene and I actually cried. I do get asked a lot what the theme is, what the message is of these stories, and I'm very resistant to give any kind of answer to that because I think the reason that we all participate in this and we all love reading and writing is because we enjoy the mystery of it. So for me, there are certain questions and certain fascinations that were raised in writing the series, but I would love for every reader just to be able to take away whatever it is they want. For me, it's a love story. It's also an exploration of what makes something good or evil, what those terms actually mean. But I hear 100 different things that readers take away from it, and each one adds a new complexity to my understanding of the books and my understanding of my readers. So I would love to just keep it open-ended. Writing Fallen has really made me fall in love with writing series. I've really enjoyed the shape of having that arc of a storyline carry across several books has been a really new and exciting thing for me to learn how to do. And so I'm definitely thinking about the next series and more possibilities, and I've got some ideas that I'm really excited about. Stay tuned.